Hey guys and gals, I got another one for you today, and did not time this purposely, but it is Friday, so have a great weekend. Got deer hunting in Wisconsin, so I will be spending my weekend doing that, but I'll still have some uploads for you guys. But that's not why you're here. You're here to watch the ending of the Tier 9 Heavy playoff battle that I put together. And we are down to the Emil 2, the last tank of the playoffs. So we played 5 games, and this is going to be the outcome. Now on this map, the northwest corner is definitely where the main choke is. You can go to the middle to do some spotting, and honestly, if you're a scout or a medium tank with good camo to vision ratio, the middle, you can feast on base campers if your artillery is actually shooting for you, which really helps develop this game and make it go by faster. If your arty can just wreck all the TDs on their base. Generally, they'll scatter into positions where they can no longer help their team. And then it's just a matter of winning one side and then killing out the rest of those guys that actually went into cover and hid there for the whole game. Alright, don't have a lot of help coming up here, so I didn't want to advance too far. I'll wait to see what my team spots. Looks like they got 2 in F2, some more in F2. Now we have 2 in front of us. One's a hull down conquer, so I'd rather not deal with that. Just to pen that reliably is not going to happen. Emil 2's reload takes way too long, so I don't want to waste shells. And an STI. Well, those are 2 tanks that I'd rather fight if I can see their hull. Alright, so I ping Arty, let Arty know, hey, we're short-handed, there's heavy tanks in the open, please shoot them. Because when I'm pushed out to where they're at, Arty usually just destroys me. But luckily for them, they're against green squares, and I'm usually against red squares. The green squares aren't competent as much as red squares are, apparently. Now, it looks like they kind of do have their hands full down in the south. So Arty might be helping them, and I'm just selfish, but that is what it is. Nothing I can do about that. So get a track back on. Ask for help. The guy behind me says on my way, but I'm really not worried about him. I'm more worried about Arty. Alright, so Arty just shot at him, it looks like. Fixes his track right after I take my second shot. I'm waiting for this Conqueror to pull up, because I can trade 2 for 1 with him. Let's get 1 into his lower plate, and it looks like the STI is coming over now. So I'm going to try to get 1 into his lower plate. Sure enough, get that off. Let my guys know that I'm reloading. Hoping that they're not counting, so I'm not going to totally run away. And now, since I don't have shells, I don't really want to block this guy. However, he can't take shots very well, like I can with my turret. So I'm trying to coordinate with him on a corner. Let him know that I'm mobilized. Get my track back on. I fall back to get this heavy taken care of. There's a waffle sitting back there. So we're going to get 1 shell into him, and he returns fire, which is unfortunate. And now what I don't realize is that my 2 tanks just let the 50 TP drive up behind me, and they didn't do anything about it. So I right now have a tank behind me. And I just realized at this point, so I say GG, get a shot into the STI, get another shot into the STI, and I'm like, really, you 4 are all going after a waffle, and you let that guy that 2 tanks were fighting him, and they just let him drive up to the top and get him behind me? Oh, how frustrating. But we win the choke. Looks like the south held, and looks like we're going to pull off a win. Now I ping up north, and I believe I turn my mic back on and say, hey, the STI is still up there somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Team closes in on their base. And there's the STI. Takes his track off. We didn't really win the choke this time, but neither team really sent enough tanks to it, so it didn't determine the game. Whereas if all the Reds were to rush this at this point in this game, they would have overwhelmed us, taken it, and then probably proceeded to our base, and then our team in the south, would have been trying to fight back to the cap, and that it's kind of difficult from their location. So 2,000 damage, 300 assist, 800 blocked, about 900 XP earned. That was a good first match. Wasn't great, but I'll be honest, the Emil 2 is kind of a tricky tank to get used to. You got the auto loader, you got crappy reload time, you got garbage hull, and you have an amazing turret. Bad gun dispersions, so you have to make sure that you're aiming your gun. And especially because your effective DPM is not that great. With the bad dispersions and bad reload time, if you are just chucking shots out there and missing, then you're spending most of the game reloading rather than collecting damage. So you have to be very concise and deliberate when you're in this tank, knowing when to pull the trigger, calculating your odds. If you're short-handed, you definitely don't want to lose, or you don't want to miss your shots. But this thing is fast enough, like this whole line is fast enough to be more like a heavium. And the cool thing is like if you can get hull down, the turret is all heavy tank. Like you can get hull down, use your gun depression, not much is gonna damage you. There are a few that can get it through or just spank HE on you. I don't want to get too far down because if I get spotted, then they're going to get shots in my side. I was trying to drive past the FB215B, but I didn't want to go too far because I knew he was going to back up. And as soon as he backs up at that point, I know that he's going to expose my tank. So I look at my map and I see that there's a T110E3 out there, and he is potentially going to be spotting us as we come off that ridge. And we're going to be driving into a field. So rather than driving across a field, I will give up the choke that they didn't send anyone to, and I will help somewhere else. So the Sheridan shoots HE shells at me. Really irritates me because he killed my driver. But we do have the med kit, so we take care of that. And we aim our shots, and that's what I'm talking about. Now, it was okay for me to do that just because I did have 2 more shells, and I have a lot of driving ahead of me. Like, I know once that guy is gone, I'm not really going to have a target, so I can reload, and it's more potential damage if I make that shot, and then he has more hit points as I make my next 2 shots, but somebody hit him in between. So if that makes sense. Makes sense in my head, so I apologize if it doesn't. Okay, so they recognize, it looks like, that we are starting to push the AB line, which was actually more successful than what I thought it was going to be. And generally what happens once one side of the map is taken is the other team will react like this. They will drive out into the field because they're like, oh my god, they're on our cap, we better drive farther away from our cap. Rather than going back to defend in where they would have cover and be able to defend from effectively, they choose to drive out into the field where there is no cover. Miss a shot on that 1390. I'm really struggling to make a confident shot here. Just kind of have that doubt in my mind. So I've just got 1 shell left. Now I'm like, oh man, I should have just thrown it at the 1390. And now that FV215B drives out, so I'm glad I still had a shell. Take him down. And I let my team know that I'm reloading. And now to talk about them going back to defend the base. They have like 3 tanks by their base defending it, and they were successful, it looks like. So I don't know exactly what happened up there, but I'm guessing just because there's a great defensible location on the 890 line, as long as you're set up ready to go there, you can defend your base. And that's why I made the gesture of them driving out into the field is to be an unintelligent play. Take this Conqueror's track off. Another one in him. Third one. Now he may get us here, which he does, and I tried to play it a little bit more safe and just pen his lower plate. We were able to get that in. And now we win the cell, so what does the north do? The reds in the north end up driving out into the open field. Now if we had a guy in like E4, you'd been able to shoot them as they cross that field. We didn't, and they might have just thought that was worth the risk. This heavy tank's by himself, we'll be able to kill him, then move on with our lives. But I just think it's funny how, as one side of the map moves forward, the opposite side thinks that they have to move forward, and really, if they just go set up in a great defensible location, generally they're just going to stop that side. So, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on this whole game. Now we're just focused on trying to finish it. We got a 3v5 as they take our Panzer 7. Their arty's not spotted, so I'm guessing their arty's in like A1, since I believe our scout went up the 0 line. Now he's in A0, so I'm guessing that their arty must have crossed at some point. He's now in A1, A2, somewhere in there. Alright, so I was going to go up the 2 line, but since my driver is dead, I decided that I'm going to shortcut it, which generally never pays off. We'll see. But my 2 heavy tanks are like parked in the middle. I think they're spotted, and then arty has shots on them. I'm not sure. Well, now I don't believe that arty had shots on them, since their arty is in D9. Scout's able to shut him down, and now their scout is running towards our arty. Our arty deals with the scout and shuts him down. So at that point I was thinking, okay, if he's down there, the Patton's probably not far behind, and sure enough, the Patton gets spotted. So I let arty know that I'm on my way. He's a T92, he's got a long reload. He says help, but he says affirmative. At this point, the Patton's already thrown in the towel. He's not even trying to win the game. He's just trying to kill arty as like a prize. A little token prize for him. So he kills arty. Aim the gun. See if I can get a shot into him. Sure enough, we land it right into his head. We take him down. Get up to 5 kills, 3,300 damage. This was a nice game. 1,000 assisted. First class. End up getting a sniper medal. That's not common in this. I mean, it sort of is always common in autoloaders, but this one isn't very accurate. So, anyways, 5,300 damage so far. 1,100 assists, 800 blocks, 2,500 XP earned. We take first in this one. We've got 5 kills total so far. And we are 2-0 in the Emil 2. So we're trending in the right direction. Now we get Karelia. And Karelia, to me, the southeast choke is the most important thing to do. If you take the north, like the AB 1-2 line, generally the way you win the game is by camping. I mean, feel free to comment if you disagree with me, but to me, the fight is down here. You definitely can win the game from the AB 1-2 line. However, it's generally going to be because you capped it. And that's really because of what we've seen in the last game. Because once you start putting pressure on the one side, then they'll just push forward and essentially like kill whatever is over here. Come around the corner, a Tusk hits us with an HE shell, takes our commander. And then we get tracked, so we have to fix that track, otherwise we're going to be a sit and duck for the Reds. I'm just trying to keep enough space here in between me and the red team. One shot into that TP. And now I'd love to empty my clip on that guy, but it doesn't look like my team is coming, and I have 3 tanks that took the hill. Now, if you want to win this choke fast, win the hill. If you can win the hill, then you pretty much can dictate this whole corner. And generally, they're not going to come around the corner, because if they do, you're going to have crossfires on them. And once that happens, they'll just back up. And it's kind of a joke. So I'm getting shot in the back somehow, even though I have a bunch of tanks that are on the corner. I'm getting shot in the back. That's pretty irritating. Shot into that E5. Not able to elevate anymore. And you can see how quickly we lose this choke just because of our team didn't take the hill. Now I will argue, once you win this side, once you take the southeast corner, you don't have to push into the enemy base either. You can just either go up to the top of the hill, get some sniping shots in, or maybe go to the middle of the map and, you know, light up some snipers in the back and get a bunch of assist damage. Generally, if you just run to their base, they're not going to be there anymore. They're going to leave because they sat there the whole game, but they don't want to actually play the game. They just like to drive tanks around. So as soon as it starts getting pressure on them, then that's when they'll start to. I have seen this defended brilliantly. So as they start to push past this choke, if you have the north, you can essentially set up tanks in like C4 and then like B8 and get shots in as they come around that corner. And I've definitely seen it where they're beat up because they just got done with the choke fight, and as they pull around that corner, they get chewed up and destroyed by what's left from the enemy team, from the snipers. And that's why people like to sit there, because they like to take the scraps. And essentially it finishes up the game and they get a win. So if people have won games like that because of that reason, then why wouldn't they go back and do the same thing? Now, if you don't send anyone to the north, then you're probably going to get flanked. Essentially, at some point, you're going to get flanked. So it's important to send a few tanks up there. And then also, just know that the tempo or pace that you set down in the southeast corner is important to what is in the north. So if they have a ton of tanks in the north and you only have 3 defending it, then either you need to up your pace to win that choke and then fall back to defend your base, or you just need to fall back into a good defensible location. Because this is probably one of the maps that I do get capped on quite a bit, Mostly just because sometimes both teams are just so dug in that you can't move forward, and then your base campers like run down to you because they know that there's a couple scouts coming, and then they just let the scouts cap. You can't get back in time. That's how I feel about that map. So I went to take the hill. I was the only one that went to take the hill, and then my team proceeded to let them park behind me, shoot me. So let's see if we can get some redemption. Now that I got all that negative energy off my chest. Alright, we get Prokhorovka. And Prokhorovka in a heavy tank. Except we're not really a heavy tank. We are a heavium. And not like any other heavium. Like, we have good mobility. We have excellent armor when used properly. So, to me, that's why I love my Kronwagen so much. Is it's got the mobility of a medium. It's got the armor of a heavy when used correctly. It's got the auto-loading gun. It's got a lot going on for it. So that's why the Kronwagen is probably my second favorite heavy behind the IS-7. So if I'm going to be in a heavy tank on Prokhorovka, it's probably going to be the Swedish Heavy that I'd like to be in. Now, IS-7 without artillery, yes please. I'll take that all day. Also, Conqueror or Super Conqueror. Anything with a strong turret where I can work this ridgeline, I will play all day long. Now, this thing can take arty shells okay if arty hits the front part of the turret, but if it hits the top or the engine deck, then you might as well just kiss your butt goodbye. You're gonna be gonzo. Alright, so our heavy tank goes all the way down the 1-2 line, which really gives me a lot of information. It tells me that they don't have anything hiding in A2, so I should be okay to get over here. Now, you do risk getting tracked when you make this play, and I did get tracked once, but I avoided getting tracked the second time. And really at this point what I want to do is just kind of get the bridge spotted. I don't know why people sit on the bridge or underneath the bridge. It's beyond me, and it drives me absolutely crazy. You're so limited on what you're able to do there. It's really annoying that so many people will spend their time there. And I'll show you how worthless it is. The only thing I can figure is that they're arty safe. You know, like arty being able to land that shot under the bridge probably isn't going to happen. But if you play this game just to avoid arty, then you're not playing this game right, in my opinion. So we're able to light that fog. Centurion there. I'm not loaded yet. I don't really risk getting penned here, just because I'm not really exposing my hull. So it takes a big caliber bullet to get through my turret. Able to get a shot into the Centurion there. Look to see if we can find one here in the fog. The lower plate, land that shot, and love to track him up there. Unfortunately, we don't reload fast enough. Oh, now we spotted a Death Star. So far, we're at 2,600, 3,000 blocked, 1,100 assisted. And every time I pull up here, I'm targeted. So I don't want to get tracked on top of the hill, especially without a repair kit. Not to mention I don't think it's a 75% crew anymore. It's probably 100% at this point, but even 100% crew with no skills isn't going to get your track on very fast. So I'm going to back up, I'm going to go dark, and then I'm going to push over this hill as fast as I can, and if I die, then I die trying. Say cover me, hoping that people are paying attention, because if I spot them, I want to be able to get some assist damage out of it at least. And then I realized, you know what, let's not throw our tank away. Let's just head north, and if we can put that rock that's in like B5 in between us and the bridge, then we might be able to just make this work. So we spot the T-30, miss that shot, looks like the Death Star hit us. And that's one thing that's cool about this, is the turret is strong enough to take a Death Star shell. As long as you take it correctly. If they hit the top with the hash round, I believe they can pen. Problem with this tank is it's only got 1700 hit points. Looks like we have a tank that jumped in there. Scout pretty much got them all agitated. None of them are paying attention. I was hoping that they'd follow him over there, but apparently they wouldn't do that. Somehow he gets away. Now, I do have a lot of gun depression, but I don't have enough gun depression to go over the hill that the scout went. So look for shots into the Leopard. Fortunately, we don't have any, but we do light the Death Star on fire. Then the scout moves out of the way, so we're able to get shots into the Leopard now. And we leave him on a sliver, and he's done. Got an E100, I doubt that I get reloaded in time. Sure enough, he's dead already. That was pretty fast. So we take down the win. We've got a nice 4200 damage, 2000 assisted. Take top dog. And we're totaling up to 9500 damage, 3200 assisted, 4100 blocked, 4000 XP earned. Take first in that one. We're up to 6 kills. And we are 3-0 in the Emil 2 with that one game dropped off. So Lookout Conqueror, here we come. We can throw down another nice game. The Emil 2 could take top dog in the championship here. We got South Coast Rain. Really not too excited about seeing South Coast. This is an essential camp off. The middle of the map used to be important for vision control. However, it's not for some reason anymore. Or it's just you can go to the middle and you can spot all the reds, but your team doesn't pull out of behind the rocks to shoot anything. So even if you're doing a fantastic job spotting, generally the reds will just like drive out to the middle, eradicate you, and then drive back to their position. That's not going to happen every time, and I do think that if you are a scout, the middle is a good place to work. But I've definitely seen a lot of games where that happens, so just be careful. Don't rely on your team to help you out and do anything important. So we're going to look for shots on this 75. Bounce off his engine deck. It's just a weird angle that he had. Luckily for him it bounced off. Looking for this waffle. Third shell in, and then we're able to put our fourth shell in. We bounced the E100, but T-57 Heavy hits the side of my turret, and then the Death Star puts another shell into it. So we have lost almost all our hit points, but there's back-to-back games where I took a Death Star shell in the face and I didn't die. Not to mention, I didn't have a ton of hit points when he shot me, so he could have killed me. Especially if he penned, he would have killed me. But it's hard to pen this turret. This is a strong, reliable turret. Now at this point I'm at low health, so I just want to pick up as much assist damage as I possibly can. any damage I get going forward is pretty much just going to be considered lucky damage. Not because I have to get lucky to do it, but just because I should be dead, and I'm not. So if I be patient, hopefully I can pick up some respectable damage here. Red team starting to push the 9-0. Green team's nowhere to be found. Looks like they're trying to like push the middle. Shots in this motion. Bounce off the side of his turret. I'm just gonna look to see if we can break down these houses. Maybe create some shots. And we're pretty much stuck playing passive, and we're pinched down in this location. They're starting to rotate around behind us. So I just want to try to be a presence for my chieftain, keep him alive as long as possible. Not so much with my gun right now, but just, you know, buy him some time. If these people are worried about an Emil too, then maybe I can help him out that way. The Malshin doesn't aim his shot. I'm able to sneak to his side. Before he can reload, we take him down. And now they're starting to wrap in behind us, and me and this chieftain should be able to take these two out if we play this correctly. And he drives out in front of the Death Star. I try to shoot the Death Star's lower plate, but the chieftain backs up into me, into my shot, and that was just played horrendously. I angrily ping my arty, tell them to go drown themselves, because I'm a sore loser. One of them listens, commits suicide. The other one hides to make his last stand. I guess the frustrating thing is like, when I'm pushing the 9-0 line, I just get barraged by arty. So that's, whenever I'm angry with my artillery, it's because the Reds are getting to sit in locations where normally I get absolutely shredded by artillery. So I don't know what happens when you're on the green team or red team, but it sure would be nice once in a while to be on the red team. That way, arty never shoots at important locations. It probably happens more often than I think, but I just remember the times where the red squares are pounding my head in. Now, they were almost done capping and they drive off, thinking that the Rue is going to come actually make a fight of this, but he has no interest in that. He's just trying to stay alive. Thankfully, they keep one tank on to get the cap done, which I'm sure my Rue is excited too, because he doesn't want anything to do with having to fight. He just plays tanks to be able to drive around and say he can drive tanks in a video game. They finish up the cap. Unfortunately, the Emil 2 doesn't get out of there without a loss, and we get 2,300 damage, 1,000 assisted, 1,000 blocked, and 478 XP earned, which brings us to a whopping almost 12,000 damage, 4,200 assisted, 5,200 blocked, 4,500 XP earned. Takes second place in this match. We got up to 7 kills and we go 3-1. So let's jump into stats. And obviously, game 3 was the most important one. It's above average in every single category. but we have 75% win rate. 2.75 on rank. So we rank 7th, 1st, and 2nd, averaging out to be 2.75. And that's, to me, really like the impact you made. So what kind of impact did you make? But first, how many games did you win? Since we won 3 games, the 2.75 is actually pretty impactful. In the background, I'm just putting all my drivers back into my tanks. And then we should switch over here shortly onto the overall, and we'll spend a little bit of time on that, talk about that, break it down so we can see not like really which one is the best, because they're all different. And I mean, honestly, the E75 is a monster, and it didn't make the playoff cut, unfortunately. But here's the overall what it looks like. So green is above average in the category, red is below average in the category. So the Conqueror, Wizard, and Emil all had above average in damage. Add the AMX 51 into the assist, and then for block damage, the Wizard falls out of it, but we pick up the 705, which actually the 705 did the best at. The red rectangles are who took the highest into each category. And you can see the Emil really took most of them, except the bottom one graph is where the highest that it had in any of the games. So the Wizard actually wins 3 of those with almost 5,000 damage, and then 2,000 assisted, 1,600 XP earned. But totals out, the Emil 2 takes top dog, and it's green all the way across. So how did I score the point system? Well, I went by how many green squares they have. So when it goes to overall average of the 4 games that we counted against them, the Conqueror got 7 points. The AMX 51 got 7 points. 705, I missed the 5120 got 0. 705 got 2. Wizard got 6, and the Emil was green all the way across the board, so it got 8. So when you go by the average 4 out of 5 games that we put against them, the ranking would go Emil first, Conqueror and AMX 51 tied for second, Wizard 111 is fourth, 705 is fifth, and the 5120 is sixth. But then if you go by the highest of what they've done, and really what that means to me is like what they're capable of, right? So in the right situation, this is what they can do in each category, minus a good driver. And when you look at that, the Conqueror got 4 green squares, the Emil 2 got 6, Wizard got 5, AMX 51 got 3. So it's a little bit different. The AMX falls to 4th place, the Wizard goes up to 2nd place, and the 5120 and the 705 stay put. But you can pause it, analyze it if you want. Those are the analytics that I came up with, and I hope you enjoyed this series. I had a lot of fun making it. It was very time consuming, but I'm a numbers guy, so I love crunching all these numbers. It's hard to find time sometimes. Alright, I'll quit babbling. I know these videos are long, so if you stuck with it, I really appreciate it. Make sure you have a wonderful weekend. I'll quit babbling. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.